Mariners lose 4-3. They lose the second game of the series and even up the series against the Diamondbacks at a game apiece. They fall to 53 and 51 on the season. Let's talk about how it happened. Everything seemed to be going pretty swimmingly. Second inning, Murphy hits a sacrifice fly that scores big dumper, 1-0. Suarez hits a sacrifice to left, scores Colton Wong, 2-0. Murphy clobbers a home run to make it 3-0. Diamondbacks get a couple back in the fourth off a Jordan Walker double and a Dominic Canzone single to center. Carson Kelly singles with the infield in to make it 3-3. Dominic Canzone singles in the eighth off Andres Munoz to make it 4-3. Mariners have plenty of chances, but don't get it done. Positives. Teoscar had a pretty good game. Cade Marlowe, he only has the one hit. I cannot tell you how impressive his at-bats have been. His ability to work the count and work back has been so good. And we'll talk about the ninth inning. Well, let's just talk about it. No, let's wait. Any other offensive positives? No, not really. Tom Murphy, great to see the homer. Does drive in a pair of runs. But we'll talk about another Murphy play in a little bit. A couple of Murphy things to talk about. Let's just get into the pitch. Oh, pitching positive. Gabe Spire was fantastic. And Justin Topa was good. First guy and the last guy, not so much. But great job by Gabe Spire and a wonderful usage, I think, of the bullpen today by Service. The results at the end obviously don't work out, but I thought using Spire for an inning and a third there was great with all of the lefties they put in their lineup. And Topa, nice job as well. Really nice job from both of those guys. Let's get into the negatives. And I think it starts with, look, Bryan Woo's line is not terrible. 5 innings of 3-run baseball. He wasn't good. He's bad. He was a bad pitcher today. He was very fortunate to only give up 3 runs today. Was helped out by his defense several times. Here's a positive for you. Eugenio Suarez. Oh my goodness gracious. That guy is so underrated with the glove. He made a couple of fantastic plays today. We don't talk enough about how good his defense is. We talk about Julio's defense for good reason. We talk about Crawford's defense and for bad reason. We don't really talk about how good he has been at third base, and we should. And that's on me. I think I brought it up a couple of times, but I need to bring it up more. He's fantastic, and he really bailed Woo out a couple of times. Terrific double play and a nice turn by Crawford, even though I just insulted him. Sorry, JP. Sorry to my son. Nice turn there. It's just your range. It's not good. I don't care what anybody tells me. I don't care that I'm trying to be literally fogwad to death by them just stuffing this crap down our mouths about how great Crawford's defense is. It's asinine. Anywho, Woo was not good. And this is probably his second or third last start. He's only got a couple left. He has to only have a couple left for a couple of reasons. One, you need to go out and get a starter. That's better than Bryan Woo. And two, he's almost to that. He has to be close to that innings limit. They may not have said what it is. There's no way he's going to have much more than double what he had in his previous high. And I think he's at now 89, something like that. 89, 90. He's really close to that double. Cannot imagine he's going to make that many more starts. And he's not good enough. Not yet. Lots of reason to be super optimistic about Bryan Woo in the long term. He's not good enough for a playoff contending team, and I still believe this is a playoff contending team. This was a frustrating one, folks. Okay, and then Andres Munoz, look, can't walk Corbin Carroll. Can't happen. Cannot happen. If he gives a hit against you, okay. Corbin Carroll's really good. But as soon as he walked, you basically said, especially leading off, it was like, well, he's on third. Because Tom Murphy's not throwing anybody out. And Munoz works too slow to get that done. It was a guaranteed first to third thing. And it's nice to have a player like that. It's nice to have a player with 80 great speed who can just fly. Mariners have one in Julio. In that situation, if he was facing those guys, he'd be on third base as well. But you can't do it. The hit shouldn't have been a hit in real life. It was not hard hit. It was just a little chopper that probably with the infield in, it would have scored the run. So, you can't get too mad about it. I think playing the infield in was the right decision there. By the way, speaking of defense stuff, I know we give Teoscar Hernandez a lot of crap. What a play that was. A line drive. He makes a perfect throw to first base to double it up and keep it a one-run game. Fantastic play by Teoscar. Flawed player. Oh my goodness gracious, what a flawed player. But what a play that was. Good for him. Good for him. There were some good stuff in this game. There just wasn't enough of it. And in particular, look, the calling, the narrative here, and I know a lot of people hate that word. I know my buddy Ryan Divish, I'm calling him my buddy, even though I don't think he cares for me all that much. He hates that term narrative, and I kind of hate it too, because it's an easy little cliched scapegoat, whatever you want to call it. The talking point is going to be that Julio Rodriguez strikes out with runners on first and third and 2 out. And there is no denying that Julio Rodriguez's results late in games have not been good enough. It's been too easy to beat him with a slider because he's trying to do too much. That's fair. I'm not denying that. In fact, this was one of Julio's worst games. I do think it's funny how quickly we forget that this guy just hit one of the biggest home runs of the season to tie that game against Minnesota, but the overall results have not been good enough in the late game situations. I won't even go over how it's not really fair that Julio is put in these situations. I think Julio has been fantastic as of late, getting hot at the right time. But tonight was bad. He went 0 for 3 with them. And if that was it, we could have a long conversation about it. But here's what you have for runners in scoring position. 0 hits from anyone. 0 for 11. Pathetic. You can talk all you want about how, average with runners in scoring position is a statistic that, is probably I almost said oversaturated. That's not right, the term, but it's not the stat that people think it is, right? But this is a daily show. And today I saw some awful at-bats with runners in scoring position. From France, from Big Dumper, from Suarez, from actually one from Marlowe, from Crawford, and from Murphy, and especially Murphy. I want to talk about this real quick. Tom Murphy right now is one of the best hitters on the Seattle Mariners. There's no denying that. He is not a good catcher. You have to give Big Dumper some days off. I understand that. I want him as the designated hitter as much as possible. And yes, over Mike Ford. Mike Ford is a very fun story, but Tom Murphy's a better offensive player. He is a bad catcher. Bad. He is not good at what he does defensively. And, I know the takeaway is Julio because, you put the pressure on him. He's your best player, blah, 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 all that crap. Tom Murphy, with runners on first and second, had one of the worst at-bats I've seen this year. He grounds out into a double play on a slider that was never a strike early in the count. What are you doing, dude? Completely bailed Fought out, who I thought looked okay. Certainly should have scored more than 3 runs off of him. They get those runs early on. That's great. They're all on sacrifice flies except for the homer. And it's hard to get too mad at a guy who homers and drives in a pair of runs. But oh boy, was that at-bat bad. And oh boy, can you not throw? And I realized that, look, Rowley's made 7 errors this year, and a lot of them with throws. He's not perfect. I certainly trust him behind the plate more than I trust Murphy. But he's not perfect. But my goodness gracious, does it hurt when you have him in that situation? That's why he should be the DH. Also, hey, maybe call a pitch out. Do something to make Carroll worried. Also, don't walk him in the first place, but just the little things on this team are just not good enough. 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position, 8 people left on base. You can't afford it. Normally, folks, if this was a season where things were going great, I would be like, tough loss. You got a chance to win the series. But these games matter a lot right now. They matter a lot because, one, they just matter. You have to catch up. You have so many teams ahead of you, and you're, I think, 5 games back now. So they matter in that situation. And they also matter because they are determining what this team is going to do. And if this team doesn't buy, I'm going to be furious. I'm going to be mad. I don't want to deal with not trying again. I know this team is flawed. Fix it. There's ways to fix it. There are ways to make this team better that don't require you destroying your farm system. I'm not asking you to trade Harry Ford and Cole Young and Feldman Selston and Lazaro Montes for a rental. I'm asking you to make this team better. There are ways to make this team better without destroying the farm system. Do it. And all that being said, I'll say this. This is a frustrating loss. Go win tomorrow. That's okay. Somebody mentioned it in the comments. What has happened so often is that this team feels like it's building to something and then it loses 2 straight. It's happened over and over and over this year. Go win tomorrow, win the series, go home 3 games over 500 and well within striking distance. I don't care about the number of teams that are ahead of them. I don't even really care about the number of games back. You control your own destiny right now, and you're still within striking distance of everything but the top wild card spot. Everything is still available. And you can go make this team better without trading everyone or destroying everything or just trading for rentals. Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander are creative folks. They can make this team better without destroying the farm system. I sure hope they do it. Because if you watch tonight's game, heck, even if you watched last night's game, heck, any of these games, you still see a roster that has some good pieces, but just needs a little bit more. Go get that little bit more. 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. I don't know. I don't know why I'm frustrated by this one. Every loss frustrates me, Daily Show. You're probably not going to see too many where I'm just like, what can you do? Which is what you should be doing. It's baseball. Everybody loses an awful lot. But tonight was frustrating. So many chances against a rookie pitcher who has not found it yet. He can only get 3 and 2 of them on sac flies. And worth pointing out, Julio has to strike out at the end of the game. Caballero comes in, pinch hits, has a horrible at bat. Not pinch hits. Actually, he had a really good at bat when he first came in. Stole a base, too. Guess what? Meant nothing because they couldn't get a hit with a runner in scoring position. But his at bat against Chafin was awful. Terrible. Got to make contact there. 94-mile-per-hour fastball. Got to make contact there. Real quick, just Cade Marlowe. I know I talked about it earlier. I've been just been so impressed with what he's done. He looks like a thing. It's a very small sample, and there will be struggles. Oh, there will be struggles. Every rookie goes through them. Every second-year player goes through them. Every baseball player goes through them. He looks like a thing. Defensively, not great, but good enough. And his at-bats, even the strikeout, his ability to work counts, and then the ability to make that hard contact to the opposite field on that triple, and he can fly, folks. That was awesome to see. I'm not saying, by the way, that you can't go get a left fielder if a left fielder is available in these next coming days. But I'm at least intrigued by what Marlowe's done. That was good. There's some happiness. But oh, Julio, come on. I I'm mad at everybody. And Julio had a tough game today. Over 3 with runners in scoring position. Um, he had a fantastic game yesterday. He's played fantastic on this road trip, but today was tough. Today was tough. But man, that slider it's getting him. It's getting him. And he had a couple of fastballs that he just missed. Fouled him off. And then just got too aggressive on that last pitch. Tough game. Tough loss. What do we got tomorrow? I'm pretty sure it's Castillo. Don't know who's pitching for those Diamondbacks of Arizona, but ugh, what a frustrating game. Yeah, good pitching matchup. Steele against Kelly. We've got a couple of good pitching matchups coming up. Steele versus Kelly, and then Kirby against Brian Bayo. That's fun. That is fun. Got to get the series win here. Have to get the series win here. Have to. Have to. 3-3 road trip is not good enough. Follow me on, what are they calling it now? X at Crawford _MILB. Follow me at Blue Sky if you have that. Sports Sometimes podcast, and the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball podcast. Hosting a solo show one tomorrow at noon where I'll answer your questions. I will say I predicted a Justin Verlander trade, or excuse me, a Max Scherzer trade today. It happened about an hour later. They don't call me Nostradamus Chris for nothing. They actually don't call me that. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Please go get better, Seattle Mariners. I think I said better, but I mean better. Please.